Alrighty, it is now February 3rd of 2020, and ever since the release of Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker, in which it marked the very end of the sequel trilogy and the entire Skywalker saga, a lot of fans around the world have been very curious about the future of the Star Wars franchise by Disney and Lucasfilm. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, one thing about the future of Star Wars is that we do know that what they are trying to develop as we speak is, of course, a new Star Wars universe. In case you guys are tuning in just now, this new Star Wars universe is actually all set and ready to really be modeled after the MCU, and it's going to consist of books, novels, comics, and more. That's really going to expand the franchise into something quite magical. Now, when we look at Disney Star Wars, obviously a lot of fans out there, including myself, quite frankly, had a lot of problems with The Last Jedi and even The Rise of Skywalker. Those are the two big films for me that I had a lot of issues with. Mind you, I still believe that The Rise of Skywalker is the best Star Wars film of the sequel trilogy. It does have a lot of flaws. There's a lot of poorly written scenes in there. There's a lot of scenes that I hate, but there's also a lot of scenes that I rather do love and enjoy. So it's like an emotional roller coaster, as I usually like to say, when it comes down to Episode 9. So, for the new Star Wars universe, what's really exciting all has to do with the big plan by Disney for, of course, George Lucas and his involvement in Star Wars, and what it really means for the future. Now that both Disney and Lucasfilm are currently developing their new Star Wars universe that is said to be modeled after the MCU and the original EU of Star Wars back in the 1990s and the early 2000s, it's explained that both Disney and Lucasfilm are developing over 10 years worth of Star Wars related projects in both live action and animated form for the Star Wars fans that will expand the franchise into something new. Now, one of the big plans right now is that George Lucas will have some creative control over many of the projects that are currently being developed by Disney, and that one of these projects has to do with the first film of the new trilogy dubbed as Star Wars X. It's noted that Star Wars X will use many of the original ideas and characters that George Lucas created for his prequel trilogy films before they were final, and that these new movies will use many of the abandoned ideas from George Lucas. Not just that, but there is also a new live-action TV series that is currently in early development that is going to be inspired from George Lucas's original TV series called Star Wars Underworld, and that George is said to have creative control over this new TV show that will be inspired from his original ideas for that show that was never complete. Now, it's explained that Disney and Lucasfilm are now accepting George Lucas to come on board and bring them in the right direction for Star Wars, so that they can ensure that the franchise will be successful for its future. This was also to be approved by Disney CEO Bob Iger, and that George will also be involved with the new Kenobi TV series to a certain extent as far as creative choices go as well. So, with that being said, obviously we can tell that Disney and Lucasfilm are trying to really fix elements of the franchise. They're really trying to reunite the fan base. I believe that obviously they realized that The Last Jedi was a big mistake on their part, along with choosing Rian Johnson as a director and a writer for a main Star Wars movie in the Skywalker saga, somebody that primarily did, indie films, right? So, when we look at Star Wars here, obviously bring George Lucas back on board and how he's going to be involved with the new trilogy, especially with the first film in the new trilogy labeled as Star Wars X. By the way, that's just a placeholder name. That's not the official title. But what's exciting about that is that they will be using a lot of his abandoned ideas from the prequel trilogy era. I don't know if you guys knew this, but there were a lot of early drafts for Episode 1 that explored different eras of Star Wars before the prequels were pretty much finalized, and that those different eras, those different ideas are going to be used as inspiration for this new Star Wars trilogy, such as characters, ships, planets, locations in the galaxy, so on and so forth, right? George, like I say what you will about him, but he did a fantastic job on A New Hope. He did a great job on Revenge of the Sith. He's got it to, a lot of levels there. Sure, the comedy that he displayed in the prequels really was not good, in my opinion at least. And sure, some of the dialogue was very clunky, I will agree with that. The Phantom Menace and The Last Jedi are probably, I would have to say, the lowest rated Star Wars films, just in my opinion, but like any Star Wars movie, even no matter how bad they are, they still have their moments. The Phantom Menace, it has the Darth Maul fight, and of course, when you look at everything related to, the sequences in The Rise of Skywalker, even though generally a lot of fans were, disappointed with that movie, but also kind of loved elements of that movie a lot. It's really a mixed audience. There are scenes in there that have highlight moments. And the fact that they're developing a new Star Wars TV series that's going to be modeled after the Underworld TV show. By the way, I don't know if you guys saw the leaked footage. It looked amazing. I mean, it looked, like a grimy setting for Star Wars. It really did. Giving you, like, the very depths of, where the bounty hunters and where the thieves, go. I think it was going to be a very interesting series. And the fact that they're trying to revive that into something new and how George is going to be attached to that is a great thing. I think it's going to be the new Star Wars The Mandalorian, if you will, as far as success goes. So anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.